Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And as promised, our guests are here in the studio with me. We have the attorney, Mickey McDermott, right across from me in the desk here. How you doing today, Mickey?
I am well, and for those who actually can see me, well, hopefully.
Hey.
Oh, you're stumping for Jack. We didn't agree to this. Who's this Jacqueline?
Well, you know, in my profession, sometimes you got to say she's the best man for the job.
There you go.
And we also have in the studio here former Montgomery Police Officer Renee Helton. Renee, how you doing today?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right.
Introduce who you have with you, Renee.
Of course, by my side, I have my fiance, Marcus Webster.
Marcus, how you doing?
Doing good yourself.
All right, I'm surviving. So where do we want to begin? Because I kind of let you open the floor, Mr. Attorney, here, and lay out what this case is. What's going on here?
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to your audience and my fellow citizens here in Montgomery. As you know, I've been on your show before over the years. Part of my practice is I represent the Southern States Police Benevolent Association, the police union. Police officers nationwide contribute to a legal defense fund, and when they have issues, civil or criminal representation, trained lawyers step in to represent them. I myself worked my way through law school in large measure as a third shift Montgomery police officer. After I finished my tour in the military, I consider the Montgomery Police Department part of my family. I always have, I always will. I want to see the best for it. I want to see the men and women who serve our community treated with respect, honor, dignity, treated properly under the law, treated properly when they do wrong. I want to see them protected to the best of my ability, and I hope that any police officer who gets in trouble is a member of the Southern States Police Benevolent Association so they can get good representation. I represent police officers when they do right, and I represent them when they do wrong. Ms. Helton is a member of the PBA, and as such, I was asked to step in because she has a personnel issue. And that personnel issue is she, like a number of other police officers, because of the recruiting and manpower situation in this country that's going on with law enforcement agencies in every state, city, and federal government, it's hard to get trained police officers. Montgomery Police Department recruits. One of the people they recruited was a semi-professional basketball player from Arizona.
Okay.
I might say, I might add, she's also former military. I thank her for her service to our country. And if it's not for the young men and women who serve our country, we wouldn't have one.
Right.
So Renee, a single mother of 2 children, was recruited to come to Montgomery to become a police officer. She shined her way through the Montgomery Police Department into the academy. She's been on the streets for quite some time. And as you can tell, and your audience can tell, she's a very attractive young woman. And that's a plus, and it's a minus.
Yeah.
The plus is she has a good rapport with people on the street. She's doing a phenomenal job as a police officer. And unfortunately, we live in an age where sometimes men and women interact in inappropriate manners. In this particular case, the allegations are, and this young lady will attest to them, that the leadership in the Montgomery Police Department failed her. Not just the chief of police, but the supervisors, many of which are listening to this program right now. We hold you accountable, ladies and gentlemen, not only for wearing that uniform and doing your duty, but to uphold the responsibility that we have to the men and women under your command. The allegations in this case are particularly ugly. The allegations are that our married chief of police became infatuated with this young woman. So much so that he misused his appointed position, appointed by the mayor, and he began pursuing this young lady on and off the job. And in my hand is the evidence of that relationship. And this young lady, fearing for her position because her boss holds her career in his hands. This young lady who left her home, brought her 2 children, do the math, 2,960 miles from Arizona. She came to our city, doesn't know Montgomery, doesn't know anyone here, volunteered to risk her life for each of us in this community. She volunteered her life nights, weekends, holidays, and bad weather. She was out there doing the job that we don't want to do. Having done that job, I can tell you right now, you eat, breathe, and live that job 24/7. And the distraction came when her chief of police, her senior supervisor, decided he was going to break the vows of his marriage and pursue this young lady. And that pursuit went on and on and on. And it is graphic. There is incontrovertible evidence to support her claims. She complained to her chain of command just as she should have. And instead of having her city, her community, and her chain of command wrap their arms around her to protect her, to stop this behavior, she was punished, penalized, and driven out of the Montgomery Police Department. Here in the land of civil rights, her civil rights are being violated every single day by her boss. Now, if this was just allegations by her, then we would have a reason to pause and question her motives. Unfortunately, it's not. Unfortunately, this chief of police comes from New Orleans with this same baggage. In the last 72 hours, we have interviewed half a dozen young women, former police officers from New Orleans. We've talked to them and their lawyers, and they're going to be talking and holding press conferences. These women are coming from New Orleans on their own dime to say, this happened to us in New Orleans.
Wow, okay.
And now it's happening to you in Montgomery.
All right, wow.
And this young lady, to her credit, was smart enough and cunning enough to keep records. And in our day and time, records carry weight. Now, my position is, and my duty is, to protect her at a city-county personnel board. A personnel board which does not have a very good track record of supporting law enforcement officers who are brought up on charges, whether those charges are valid or not. But we're going to give that city-county personnel board an opportunity to do the right thing and reinstate her. If they don't, then we're going to go sit in front of a circuit judge and a jury and give that judge and that jury an opportunity, whether it be in state court or federal court or both.
Right.
Now, Miss Helton is here. The young man she's brought with her is also a former Montgomery police officer. An 18-year, yes, I said that, 18-year veteran of our police department. Because when Miss Helton began to refuse the amorous desires of our chief of police in uniform on duty, she turned him down. And apparently, you don't turn down the sexual advances of our chief of police.
Right.
And as a result, she started a relationship with a fellow police officer, an 18-year veteran. And when our chief of police and the chain of command found out that they were dating each other instead of dating our chief of police as his desires, our city, our leadership in our police department turned on them both. So now a young single female with 2 children is suddenly attacked by her leadership. Not supported, but attacked. And as we all know, when the people in power want to get you, they're going to get you. They're going to write you up enough to where they force you in and force you out. That's what they did with her. And that's what they did with an 18-year veteran of our city. Right. 18 years. And I happen to know that their lawyers, their senior leadership, and members of our city leadership are listening to us right now.
Well, and I appreciate that, Mickey. I think that's a great way to set the table here. And I want to go to you, Renee,
Yes,
in this sense. Well, just some quick stuff. Like, when did you first come to Montgomery? When did you kind of you remember when you made that decision to move from Arizona to here, and why?
Yes, sir. I wanted to be in law enforcement in Arizona, but Arizona had like a 2 or 3 year wait. So I did get accepted through the Phoenix Police Department out there.
Okay.
But because of the wait was so long, the recruiter said, look, you can just come here for 2 years, and then you're able to transfer wherever you want to go. So that was my original plan, was to come out here, get on the force, get my 2 years, and then go back to Arizona. But honestly, I fell in love with this city. I fell in love with the community here. I saw that the people here, the citizens here, were being taken advantage of, and there was bullies here. And I just felt like, Jesus had me here for a reason, and I plan on staying here and retiring from the Montgomery Police Department. But I worked in the North Side. I worked in Newtown. You know what I'm saying? For someone to say that they fell in love with that, I mean,
right.
Like, you really got to love your job.
Yes.
If you fall in love with Newtown. No shame to Newtown. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, what kind of work you got to do when you work on the North Side. So when I was exposed to that, and, the single mothers out there, they were, they wanted me to arrest some of the single mothers because their kids weren't going to school. But I pulled the mother aside and I said, why is he not going to school? And she cried and she said, I don't have the money to get him supplies. I don't got the money to get him clothes or new shoes. I said, is that your mom right there? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, get your mom in the car and your son in the car, and you follow me to the store. And I bought that kid supplies. I bought him clothes and shoes. That's the type of officer I am. And a lot of these mothers are probably going to come out and tell you like what type of community policing I do. That's not just to boost my character. This is real life, what I was doing out of my own money,
right,
buying these things for these women out here, and then you got Chip Hill saying why I got fired was because I got permission from my supervisors to take my kids to and from school.
I was going to ask you the official reason they gave you.
Because I got permission through text messages. 3 of my supervisors admitted to city investigation. Yes, we gave her permission. Put on 2 documentations that a major did an investigation. They said, yes, we gave her permission and other officers permission. There's a document with other police officers' names, but city investigation didn't want to investigate them. Chief Albert didn't want to investigate them. I'm the only female on that memo, and the only one who was a victim of Chief Albert, and I'm the only one who was investigated and fired.
Now, I'd imagine you can be chummy with a boss. You can make jokes with a boss.
Right.
Especially, I imagine law enforcement's a whole other different type of environment. It's it's certainly not like working in radio. But was there a moment when you realized a line has been crossed? Was there a particular moment where you realized this guy's trying to make the moves on me? This guy's...
Yes, sir.
Can you describe that? What was that moment?
That moment was when Darryl Albert told me that he can put me in Band-Aid. That when we take the corporal's test, I was going to be the top of the list. That he was going to put me in that top of the list because he's the chief of police and he could do that. Then told me he was going to put me in the academy because you don't know your chief. I'm Chief Albert. I could put you in there. I'm like, no, I don't want none of that. I want to earn it. I'm not qualified to go there.
He was offering you an instructor's position at the academy,
Correct.
as opposed to being a street officer.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm not
Wow.
qualified. So I turned both of those down because I want to earn where I go and where I get transferred to. I knew I wasn't qualified to be at the Alabama Police Academy, like the Montgomery Police Academy. I'm not qualified for that. But
So that's
he
when
was
you're
gonna,
like,
he was going to put me there.
yeah, you're like, that's weird. Why would he do that?
Well, I mean, not only weird, but I mean, like then after that, there goes the sexual comments. And so when you say what I could do for you, and you could do it because you're the chief of police and nobody's going to question it, and you have the authority to do it with no explanation needed, and then you follow with sexual requests and sexual demands, what does that tell you? That if I turn this man down, just as quick as he can uplift my career, he can quickly kill my career. And that's exactly what happened.
And by sexual comments, I mean,
Oh yeah. I mean, one of them was,
This is still a family radio show, Joey.
yeah, but we push the envelope here. I don't.
Oh, okay.
That envelope is very graphic.
Oh,
And we've turned copies of all of these messages. We've delivered them to the mayor's office.
right.
City investigation, city legal. We now have a office. We have all kind of new offices in
Right.
the city. We now have an office of the inspector general. Okay.
What are we, the feds?
Yeah,
What is
we
this?
have one now. His name
Wow.
is Attorney Peck Fox. Peck has these. Where is our city council? This is a city employee being sexually harassed by your employee, and you've had knowledge of it since last summer. Zero action.
Zero.
Zero council persons. Zero members of the Human Resources Department and
Ethics
Personnel
Committee.
Department for the city of Montgomery. Zero have reached out to this young lady.
But no,
Our city legal. Now understand, the city legal works for the
mayor.
city.
Yeah.
They work at the pleasure of the mayor, the pleasure of the city council, but you're allowing this to go on. And I mean this with all sincerity. This is somebody's child. This is somebody's daughter. This is somebody's mother. Ladies and gentlemen of the city of Montgomery, this is your employee that you're allowing this to happen to.
Right.
Your city council is allowing this to happen. Our mayor is allowing this to happen. They know it's gone on. They have the proof, and it is easier to destroy her life and his life and do nothing about it. And when this came to me for a personnel hearing, this is untenable. I'll not stand for it. I live in this city. I serve to protect this city. I vote here. I pay taxes here. I raised my family here. And people that are listening to this audience, you need to understand me. This is the kind of thing that makes or breaks our city. If we allow this type of conduct to go on, we destroy the fabric of our department, and men and women who serve this city as city employees can no longer trust their leadership. The men and women who serve this city in the fire department, police department, they can no longer trust their superiors. How do you think that's going to help with recruiting long-term officers? And I think what's unfathomable to me is that we have a brand new officer with brand new skills that we're losing. We've just paid thousands upon thousands of dollars to train her. But sitting right next to her is 18 years of city employment, 18 years of working homicides, rapes, kidnappings, drug transactions. City policing at its finest
Right.
is embodied in that young man.
Right.
And we have kicked him to the curb because we want to take care of a chief of police, with all due respect to Mr. Albert, Chief Albert, whichever he is these days, because I'm not sure if he's chief of police or not anymore. We're really no longer sure. Where is the accountability? Where is the transparency that our mayor spoke of just days ago at the State of the City address?
All right.
I'm sorry, Mayor Reed, members of the City Council, this is on you. And if you're okay with letting this going on and destroying the lives of your city employees, then you will spend infinite amounts of money in training and recruiting, and then you will spend more money in the lawsuits that my brethren bring against this city due to poor training, lack of experience, and lack of maturity in your department. Of all the city departments, the fire department, the first responders, the 911 operators, and our police officers, they are the thin blue line. They are the thin orange line. They are the wall between anarchy and chaos. A large part of my practice, and I'll be honest with you, 90% of my practice is protecting my clients from other members of my profession.
Right. Makes
Okay?
sense.
Just honest.
Makes sense.
And there are people who live for these cases.
Well, and I want to go back to you, Renee, because I don't want folks to get the idea that there was some, you're interpreting things wrong. So as
Right, I
he didn't
understand
give
what you're
up in pursuing you.
No. He would blatantly say what he wanted to do to me sexually, and then he would be like, "But I know you just want to be friends. But I know you just want to be professional," and then quickly be like, "Oh, but you'll go crazy when you have me. Oh, I know it'll be a good thing when you have me." He'd tell me to open up my legs so I could feel what's in between your legs, and then text "open up." I'm gonna lean over and I'm gonna kiss you. Said he wanted to be all in me, all over me, and all on me, and then reiterated what all on me as if I follow, and then I'm just like, so sexually, you want me sexually, you're just playing into, like, you're just leading yourself into this trap, but it also shows like this invincibility that he feels for himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody can touch this man because guess what? My cousin's the mayor. And can nobody fire me but the mayor? And you think my cousin's gonna fire me when he knew what I came with?
When you speak to what he came with, what do you speak of?
Oh, I mean, there's, like he said, there's dozens of victims in New Orleans, and they've been in contact with my attorney.
Yeah.
So have their lawyers. And what's so sad and what infuriates me, and God really gave me my purpose when this young lady called me and called Mickey when he was right next to me. She was crying because she heard my kid. And she said, if I only fought harder, there would have never been another victim. See, she said, I'm not a parent. It's just me. She said she did 20 years in New Orleans. They took her retirement. This woman was ready to retire from NOPD, and they took her retirement because she would not engage in a sexual relationship with Darryl Albert. Because
and there is a lawsuit being
yes,
filed by lawyers out of Texas following Chief Albert.
Okay.
I'm just wondering how when we vet the people that we employ, how did we not find that? How did the city council allow that to happen?
Well, they found it. They found it. They ignored it. That's my speculation, my humble opinion.
Well, if nepotism is the magic key to getting city jobs and all, then we're all in big trouble.
Yeah.
And, and I know this sounds odd, but I represent police officers. I've probably represented dozens who have been brought up on charges over the years, one of which is truthfulness at all times. They mistake or they lie on a police report. They put down inaccurate information. They give inaccurate testimony at court. They tell their supervisor the difference between the amount of time that they took an extra lunch, that kind of thing. It cost them their jobs. Truthfulness at all times is in the policy and procedures manual, and it will get you fired immediately.
Oh, not only would that get you fired, but fraternization. See, fraternization says your first offense, you're supposed to get 10-day suspension and a demotion. So you can't get demoted, Darryl Albert, because you're appointed by the mayor. So you automatically should be terminated. Automatically. That says what the second offense is. But because you have no rank to follow up under, that's an automatic termination.
And unfortunately, the city is fighting us.
Oh my God.
I had to file for this child to get, and I'm sorry.
It's okay. I understand the age cap.
It's really like this, Renee.
I understand the
At
age cap.
my age, I have razor blades older than you. Okay? But I'm having to fight. Where is the city saying, you know, Mickey, she wants to be a police officer. We're short of police officers. By God, we'll fix this and get her back on the street. We spent thousands of dollars of training this young lady, and we're wasting it because
We want to protect a predator.
that sounds
That
ugly.
a
Doesn't that
predator's
sound
rights
ugly?
are
It
more.
does.
Where? I'm sorry. Where's the outrage?
Yeah.
Look, I'll be honest with you, Joey. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you giving us this forum.
Really.
It has taken me months to get anyone in the media to listen to me. Your competitor, my airborne brother, Kevin Elkins,
Hat tip to Kevin.
gave me a platform for this young lady.
Yeah.
And listen, ladies and gentlemen, WSFA has interviewed her and stuck it in a drawer.
Yeah.
The Montgomery Advertiser has interviewed her and stuck the interview in a drawer. They have not said a peep. I believe that we have given up on journalism and we're all about how many times we can get invited to the mayor's office for a fundraiser or for the next Publix grand opening.
Well,
And I understand it's a business decision, but you know, I took an oath to fight for people. I'm going to stick by my oath. I don't know where WSFR are or the newspaper, because if you're listening, you're sitting on your ass and you're not doing your job.
you're here.
And you worry about ratings and sales of paper. The reason we stopped taking the newspaper is because you won't do your job.
Well, and I'm up against the clock here, but there's one part of the story I want to get to with Renee and with you, Marcus, because these advances are persistent. Mickey just showed the stack
Yeah.
of evidence
And
there.
I ran out of ink, color and black. So there's more.
Okay.
There's more. Yeah.
So when did you think, okay, you kept obviously turning them down and he
Yes.
kept pursuing. When did you start to think, oh crap, they're out for me? Was it when they knew y'all were together?
That heated up. Cause Darryl Albert, Saba Coleman, Sergeant McGriff, and Chief Barnes were standing in the hallway when I was getting ready to go to my follow-up city investigation on the case that got me fired. Darryl Albert told Chief Barnes to walk me outside to tell me that don't mention any of the conversations that we have or meetings that we've had with you and Chief. Just let them substantiate you on these charges and then we'll take care of it in-house. And that sounds like you're kind of coercing the witness, right?
Yep.
Tampering with something. Guess what the first question was when I went in there? Has anybody given you permission to send this, or has anybody told you you could do this? Have you met with any higher ups that given you the okay to respond to this email or not write this memo? I'm like, wow, I just got walked out by Chief Barnes, who told me not to mention that me and her have conversations about this. No, because Chief Barnes failed as a chief. Chief Darryl Albert failed as a chief. I went to them for 11 months straight to ask to be removed. Darryl Albert put a captain, Amy Savell, in charge of me, knowing that there's a conflict of interest. I have an EEOC against her wife, who was removed from my shift. Why would you put her wife now in charge of me? I have a copy of that EEOC when the city received it. So don't say you didn't know. But for 11 months, they denied me to be transferred from that shift. We have a sergeant who went there and said, hey, this is a conflict of interest. Why are you bringing her here? I'm not going to be stuck in the middle of this. And they said, oh no, she's coming to that shift. Darryl Albert texts me saying, so we could kill the rumor mill. It was me, myself, and I who put Amy Savell on your shift. Tell me that's not condescending.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not saying I'm invincible.
Let me ask one very pointed question. I know you're up against the break, Joey. Did you make an official complaint against Chief Albert in writing to City Investigations or anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody else make a complaint on your behalf that you had informed of this behavior?
Chief Barnes went to City Investigation and opened the investigation case for me.
There was a formal investigation against the chief, and we're sitting here months and months later.
Right.
You're fired.
I'm fired.
Your fiance's fired.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the chief of police?
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. And it got back to us that the women at Montgomery Police Department are scared. They don't feel like their lives are being protected by the mayor, because you're telling me that my word and the evidence that I bring you that I'm being sexually harassed means that I'm going to be fired while this predator remains at the job. So anybody of high ranking gets a free pass. That's what you're saying to these women and these victims at Montgomery Police Department, that our lives don't matter, that our words don't matter, that if we're sexually harassed and it's a chief or anybody high like that, you're going to be fired, and we're going to protect this. We're going to protect this predator, this monster. Come on now, because a citizen can come and make a complaint on a police officer, a citizen. Guess what happens to that police officer? Effective immediately. He is removed from the streets, or she is removed from the streets and put on admin leave. Effective immediately. So what you're doing to these victims at Montgomery Police Department is tormenting them. Because I know there's more. But you're showing.
How do you know there's more?
Because they reached out to me.
So you're not the
and they're going to supervisors and telling them, we don't feel safe here at Montgomery Police Department. That if this happened to me, they wouldn't protect me. That me as a police officer, my life don't matter. But a citizen can come and make an allegation against a police officer, and effective immediately, they are removed and put on admin leave. But you have Darryl Albert walking in and out of that police department every day
with complaints filed by you and a chief.
Well, from as far as I can tell the story, and this should have never happened to you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for speaking out and working with Mickey here to get the word out, because it sounds like there are a lot of women.
Yes, sir. As
y'all described. And it's awful. I will say, look, I'm sitting here switching cameras as I'm sitting here listening. Y'all two are getting married, right?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I think that's a good way to end things, unless I'm forgetting something. But just congratulations on the marriage, all right? And we'll see where all this goes. Because, and I've been saying this is one side of the story, but I think it's pretty damning. And you seem to very much have the goods in writing, and your testimony is very compelling too, at least as far as I'm concerned. But I appreciate you speaking out, Renee. I appreciate you, Mickey, speaking out here on the show as well. And if y'all have any more information, y'all want to get this out to the public, you can always use this space. Always use this platform.
Yes, sir.
So thank y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see where it goes, folks.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at AL.com, it proves that Chip Hill and the mayor have these text messages, because those quotes are from my EEOC, and I have a recording from EEOC who said that they are not allowed to give documents or evidence to any party, let alone a media. Right. So how did AL.com give? Mickey, did you give it to them? I didn't give it to them. So you confirmed every allegation to the world that you are in possession of flirtatious and sexual text messages. What more do you need? If it happened one time or 100 times, it don't matter. It happened. Yeah. He needs to be removed immediately so that more victims feel safe to come out. Do you care about the lives that protect your house 24/7? Or do you protect this monster who you just opened up City of Montgomery to? Let me know. I mean, because you're telling me that these officers that protect your house don't mean nothing.
Well, like I said, it shouldn't have happened. And have been hearing things about the MPD for a while now, and now a lot of things are starting to make sense. I didn't know it was this bad in your case, but when I see a morale problem, you start to think it starts at the top.
Absolutely. And that's the case.
And it's just, well, again, appreciate y'all being on.
Yes, sir.
And, well, we got to hit a break here.
Okay.
But more news and views in the afternoon after this.
You may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether